Tonight, the fire service concedes it was hampered by a number of challenges in containing the spread of Thursday's fire and says it will review to determine the shortfalls.
On arrival at the scene, the business establishment were secured on the lock and key, and there was no way we could have gained access to the area of origin of the fire.
The Castries mayor says while the fire was tragic, there is a silver lining that could present a great opportunity for redevelopment. And Guy Joseph outlines the scope of demolition currently taking place on the St. Jude reconstruction site to the dismay of the former government. That and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Friday, the 22nd of November, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117, also being simulcast on Kiss FM. You can watch on our website, www.caribbeanhottv.com, or on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Thursday was a defining moment in the history of the St. Lucia Fire Service. The organization is moving into a period of reflection, and a debriefing and review will soon be held to determine whether there were operational gaps that could have improved the response time and the effectiveness of their firefighting efforts. The fire service says it was frustrating and emotional watching the inferno engulf buildings after being unable to get access to the origin of the fire to stop its spread. Some have praised the fire service for valiant efforts during Thursday's fire that began at Voyager on the William Peter Boulevard. Others questioned how the fire grew so big before it was extinguished, given the close proximity of the fire service. Divisional Officer of the St. Lucia Fire Service, David Antoine, says firefighters encountered a number of issues, and accessibility was the major hindrance for the fire service.
On arrival at the scene, the business establishment were secured on the lock and key, and there was no way we could have gained access to the area of origin of the fire. That was one. The second was that the building was old, and it consisted of a wooden floor. And as the fire burned, it consumed that floor, and which collapsed as a consequence. As a result of that, we had to intermittently withdraw our men to prevent injuries or any kind of fatalities during the operation. And the third one was you had a restaurant in the building, you had stores in the building, and there were a lot of combustible material there.
Antoine says the fire service will undertake a review of the operation with a view to improving its response to such emergencies.
The fire department has to conduct an internal debriefing of the operation and to assess what affected the operation significantly, whether it was external factors or operational gaps, so that we could go forward, we could look at improving our operations going forward.
He underscored the need for more resources and more information, including access to building codes and an early warning system. Nonetheless, he is satisfied that the men and women of the fire service gave a commendable effort to get Thursday's fire under control.
Provided that we had the information of the layout of the building structure, how to get in and egress and access, it would have been to our advantage. The fact that we did not know how to get to the fire and all of that, and given the combustible material that were in there and the flooring of the building, it automatically spread. So I think given that, we did a very good job. And again, we need to enforce that building codes have to be instituted when we erect such buildings, and the fire service has to be on board. Because when these things happen and we are on scene, we do not have the knowledge as to how to get in and how to get out. You understand? And in those operations, what is priority to us is the safety of human life.
Smoke is still emanating from the buildings, and up until Friday, fire officers were still on the scene trying to completely extinguish little pockets of fire. A number of businesses were completely gutted by Thursday's fire, leaving business owners and employees in shock and heartbroken too, given that the fire means significant job losses. As the mayor of Castries expresses sadness over the loss of the historic building in Castries Central on Thursday, he is taking the time out to thank all the parties responsible for dousing the flames that destroyed buildings. Peterson Francis says, on the other hand, there is a silver lining to the tragedy. Rochelle Gonzalez tells us more.
The mayor of Castries has expressed his sadness at the loss of a relic in the form of the old Gaiety building, which along with the Voyager building and a number of small businesses were destroyed by fire on Thursday afternoon. Mayor Peterson Francis said the building, which housed the island's first cinema, was iconic for many reasons. With that aside, he said, his thoughts are with the persons who are now out of work as a result of the blaze.
I would like to sympathize with the owners and also the business places, and most importantly, the workers. Because you know that we are entering the joyous season and it's not going to be joyous for them. I understood that one of the workers actually started work yesterday. Only the first day at work, and that's Kasafra. And you don't even know how long she might have been looking for a job. So we understand what's going to happen. So I'm asking on behalf of the workers, they're in a very, very serious situation now, that I hope we'll be able to come together in some way, some fashion, to assist them in what we consider to be the joyous season that is approaching.
The mayor also went on to thank the persons who put in the hard and dirty work to avert further disaster.
The firemen, I'm very grateful for them. They went beyond the call of duty because you know what, the Royal Police, Central Police Force, and also our city police. And I would even like to congratulate some of the public who actually assisted them in keeping back the trial.
With that said, the mayor seemed to have found a silver lining around the dark cloud of smoke that covered the capital on Thursday afternoon.
And I hope I'm not misunderstood, is that you know the Vision 2020. We know, as you said, that's an iconic building, we have a lot of memories. But also that we are modernizing the place. So we are not saying that we are happy that that has happened. We are not saying that at all. But it is now giving us an opportunity for new development as far as the city is concerned. We know we are looking at a boulevard, which work will be starting from March next year. We are reorganizing the boulevard. So as we say, we are not happy about what happened. But God works sometimes in mysterious ways.
Mayor Francis said the opportunity has now arisen to replace the buildings with something even more magnificent. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Meanwhile, the Castries mayor is chiming in on another matter. He says enough is enough, and he's expressing frustration over the number of bomb scares being called in the city. On another note, he admits that he does not agree with the calls to have the High Court removed from its current location to avert these incidents.
Castries Mayor Peterson Francis has joined a long line of St. Lucians who have become sick and tired of the rising number of bomb scare hoaxes which have been crippling the island's productivity levels, causing major disruptions in the nearby schools and causing all-round chaos for the traffic routes in the area surrounding the cordoned-off locations. Speaking to Hot 7 News one day after 3 bomb scares were called in the city, with 2 of them being reportedly at the Ave Maria Girls' School, the mayor said this is just a way of escaping responsibility.
First of all, with these bomb scares, that I myself is extremely frustrated with that. And the quicker that we can detect, or we have things in place to detect these, I wouldn't call it a prank, but these people who are putting the country backward for a few hours, we must be able to deal with that. St. Lucia is not a working country. It's not a working country. What I mean is that we look for every excuse not to be at work. The only time that we are on time and we make sure that we at work is on PD.
Mayor Francis said the police need to step up in apprehending the persons responsible for this nuisance of a crime.
And I hope that quicker that the police could make a breakthrough. And I understood we had one that they got. But what have you heard about that again? I know somebody has been charged. But what have we heard about that? Is it a joke? Is it that all of you realize that's not the person? But we have to be serious about that. And the quicker we could get to the bottom of that. Now, I mean, I have somebody who has just given some information, which we're going to get to the CID as far as this thing. I mean, somebody who has passed on some information, and we're going to share that with the police. Okay? But we have to stop that.
Following Thursday's 3 bomb scares, there have been calls for the High Court to be removed from its Coral Street location. The mayor strongly disagreed.
We have to go for a little, we can have everything our way. Then you find people say we don't have courthouses. Then people say the wheel of justice is not spinning. So we have to give and take. I'm not saying it's not the ideal situation. It's not the ideal situation. But if you look at the previous courthouses and so on by the thing and so on, what is the proxy? What is if they had a bomb scare there? Would have been more effective there than where it is right now? Where it is it creates the same way.
Mayor Francis said the Ave Maria Girls' School had previously dealt with years of being obstructed by vendors. This, he said, posed a much greater threat and nuisance than the occasional bomb scare. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Economic Development Minister Guy Joseph has shed some light on the scope of construction works at the St. Jude site. There have been questions and concerns about demolition taking place on the site, some saying it's a wastage of millions of dollars by destroying good buildings. The opposition and members of the public have questioned the prudence of the government on the St. Jude project. Word of demolition taking place on the site did not sit well with the previous administration, who accused the government of wastage. Economic Development Minister Guy Joseph says there can be no disputing that some buildings on the existing site had to come down because they simply did not meet standards for a hospital. Further, the minister, who is known for never backing down from offering a retort to criticism, says the wastage and demolition was prevalent under the previous administration. He was a guest on the government program In Focus.
Now we are talking about a hospital that was destroyed by fire. We are talking about meeting the basic requirements of safety. And if people want to talk about demolition, we can talk about demolition. The demolition we are doing, everybody is aware of. What was done, the bulk of the money that was spent in St. Jude's by the previous government was spent on demolition.
The minister says presently St. Jude is being built for resilience.
And the building that we are putting down there now is built for seismic activity, which is earthquake. It is being built for hurricane, because it's a concrete roof that's going on there. It's not the regular galvanized roof that you have.
According to him, the government did everything possible to salvage what already existed at the St. Jude reconstruction site, but he says changes were unavoidable.
There's one of the buildings that was built on the foundation, and under the foundation you could see was like a garbage dump. We left that little building, we dug all around it, and we left the building there. Anybody can go there today, and you can see all of the debris that is under the foundation of that little building. It has not been knocked down. It is still there. It is still there for people to see. There must be some level of integrity in what we do in this country. And if everybody wants to see everything to believe that there is a problem, you really believe that we are struggling to get finances to run things in this country, and that we are going to be knocking down things that are good just to make a point about politics? If other people operate that way, the government that I am a part of do not operate that way.
Work is currently ongoing and the contractor is said to be pressing ahead. A timeline of 18 months has been outlined for the completion of only the construction phase. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the NWU urges the Prime Minister to intervene to ensure that some 300 workers receive their due years after they unceremoniously lost their jobs. The Cannabis Commission is launched and the Commerce Minister says it's onward from here. And police receive new bikes, compliments WLBL. Stay with us, that and more is coming up after the break.